You have come to OH2, which is our YouTube channel at Optimize Her 2. It is Tuesday, September 16th, 2025, 8 at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. You have arrived at episode number 3, and we're going to talk about, does health affect your well being? Well, co-creators here, Barbara E. Ringrose, founder of Wow Women, Optimizing Women at wowwomenus.com, and Laquencia Nichols, founder of experience-coaching.com. I swear I get tongue tied with some of these things. Um, we're going to educate you, we're going to inform you, and sometimes we may even entertain you about different topics that you want to know about. Authentic conversations where you're getting information from healthcare professionals, nutritionists like we're Joni Rampolla today, that we'll be talking today, people with a background and so forth, not just somebody just talking about a conversation. And that's why you'll be coming to OH2 over some other podcast that you may be joining. We value your time. We are so grateful and thankful that you have chosen to spend time with us the next 30 to 45 minutes talking about all kinds of cool stuff. So I just introduced myself, Barbara E. Ringrose, founder of Wow. Why the E? Because there's other Barbara Ringroses out there, and I want to make sure I distinguish myself from those other ladies out there. I'd like to introduce you to my co-creator and good friend, Quincy Nichols, the founder of experience-coaching.com.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited. I think we are episode 3. We are making our way, and I think we are gaining traction in our content and our rigor and regularity around the podcast. I'm super excited for that. So, yeah, I'm just excited that we're continuing on with our third episode today.
That is so cool. And you're the founder of your own business too, and people can go to your website and they can check you out and so forth. I do want to mention that the information that we provide on OH2, we believe it to be solid information based on our experience, our professional experiences that we've had, knowledge that we've acquired over many decades and so forth. We are not going to guarantee this information nor from our presenters. And if you need further clarification, please reach out to us. We would love to talk to you. We'd love to find more and you to put your comments. Please go to our YouTube at Optimize Her 2, and you can like and share, and please subscribe. We'd like that. Please share. Don't keep us a secret. We want to hear more about it.
Yeah,
And
don't be selfish with us. Share us with your good girlfriends or your good guy friends, because we hear there's some men that are listening to us now, and we're so excited to have you all along with the journey.
and that's so interesting because I spoke with a gentleman, Quincy and I and Joni. I've known Joni. This is my 13th year anniversary of Wow. And I've known Joni almost that entire time. Quincy, I met through this networking group called NRG. And one of the gentlemen that was introduced to me, he's from New Jersey. He is a counselor. And he's saying, well, men want to hear this stuff too. And it's funny because I'm hearing that more and more. Don't exclude us guys. We want to hear what you girls are talking about. So, we invite everyone. We'd love to have you all find value in what we're presenting here. So, that all being said, we want to have the right expectations. We're going to be here for 30 to 45 minutes on the first and third Tuesdays of every month. And that's through 2025. And you know what? If you like us enough and we can do this to the level that we want to here at OH2, we'll be back in 2026 to do more and have more guest speakers to enlighten you. So with Joni, I just mentioned that I've known Joni for 13 years in the community and so forth. And some of the things that she's done in the past and her primary focus on nutrition she's taught me a lot. I've learned a whole lot from Joni and what she's done. And then I think it's really important that we understand that what's happening in our health, it can affect your well-being. And that's why we chose this topic this evening to talk about that and optimize her too. So again, thank you for joining us. And I think the important thing is to understand that Joni has her own business, and we're all about small business here this evening on Optimize Her too. You could go to her website at Nutrition Coaching for You. That is the number 4, the letter U, Nutrition Coaching for You.com. Very, very good. We're getting good at this. And Joni has all kinds of different letters, acronyms after her name. I'm going to let her to go into that if she'd like. And she's quite popular because she has 12,589 followers over there on LinkedIn. Maybe it's 569, something like that. I could have mistyped that. A clerical error there. And I think that's impressive, Joni. I think what you're doing is impressive. And I can't wait to hear more about you. And I'm sure our guests want to hear more about you. So, without further ado, Joni Rampolla of Nutrition Coaching for You. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here and be in episode number 3. Three's a lucky number for me.
I love it too. So, number 3, it's interesting. I talk about threes because threes is really manageable. And we have 3 ladies, and it's easier for us to keep the dialogue going. If we get a panel, I know some of the men want to come out there and they want to be on a panel here at OH2. That'll be interesting if we have a group of men plus a group of ladies. How is that going to work out? And we're going to find out in the future, I'm sure. So, you're bringing forth a wonderful combination of intelligence, your passion, to your role in both your other employment and your history, and then here at Nutrition Coaching for You. You're a registered dietitian, Joni, and I know that takes a lot of time. You graduated uh, with a coaching program, and you're a recent graduate of Capella MBA program. These are things that really take time and a dedication to, Joni. You really walk the walk. And that's what impressed me, always has impressed me about you. You're like the living embodiment of what you teach. And that I say from the heart. That's very sincere about your good nutrition and your active lifestyle and your consistent mental positive mindset have always attracted me to you. Outside of work, you like to do a lot of different things, spending time with family and friends and creating all different kinds of recipes and cooking up things for the boys. So, um, talk to us. Let us know more about what it is you're doing.
I feel like I'm getting a big head just sitting here. You're building me up to be something amazing,
Build me
You
up, I
are
better do
something
it.
amazing.
which is really kind of fun. So thank you for that wonderful introduction. I appreciate it. But yes, I do live the lifestyle and I practice what I talk to people about, but it's not hard or with vigor. It's in a way that is balanced and fun, not restrictive. But yes, I try and walk the walk for
So,
sure.
sometimes, we feel like we're so wrapped up in our job and getting so stressed out all the time, and we forget to eat, right?
I hope that's not something we forget, but I know that definitely happens when people are stressed or things happen differently in life. Yes. And it's just really one of the things that I talk a lot about is self-compassion and taking care of yourself, right? This whole podcast is about your health and your well-being. And I want to just make a distinction between the two because some people think those words are the same and they're a little bit different. So if you're okay with that, I want to just explain that. They're not quite identical twins. Um, so health, I think of as the foundation, the bricks of the house. Those bricks can be your nutrition, your movement, your sleep, your preventive care, all the things that give the house structure. That's your health. But then when we think about well-being is the feeling of living inside that house. It's the comfort, the joy, the relationships that all happen how you feel. So you can feel great inside your house and comfortable and have good relationships, but the structure can be a little bit unstable or, shaky, or you can have that solid house your health, but not feel good in it. So to really thrive, it's that combination of health and well-being. And that's what I try and get people to do. So whether it's nutrition or sleep or stress, so we try and find that combination because how you think about things matters a lot too for your overall well-being.
I like the house analogy because, much like a house, whether it is your profession you're talking about, your health, they're very similar. If you don't have a solid foundation, you are not going to exist very well or have a positive mindset.
Yeah, I think also to the part about sleep, I know for me, I devalued how important sleep was to my overall health and well-being. Like I felt like there was so much support needed on both ends. And once I got really selfish about my sleep, I felt so much more improvement and clarity to be able to drive myself, my business and personally. So I think sleep is underrated and undervalued. We think we can burn it, on both ends and eventually it will catch up with you.
Yeah, I agree when you say undervalued because I feel like that's one thing like, "Oh, I'm going out, I'm having a good time, it doesn't matter, I'm out all night. I'll catch up on sleep on the weekend," but that's not really how your body works, right?
Right.
It's
Or I used to remember they used to say, I'll sleep when or I'll sleep when I'm dead. And I'm like, no, you gotta get to sleep before then, right?
yeah, yeah, it's
Hmm.
all
Guilty, I
important,
could
it's
say
all
that.
part of your health.
Yeah.
I'm definitely guilty of saying that when I'm dead, I'll get my rest. My children are
Hmm.
constantly saying, "You and Joe need to slow down." I'm so sure your boys do too, and I'm sure Quincy, you get the same type of reaction from your family and so forth. So on the first and third Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, you're going to be able to join us here. And just keep in mind that if you can't join us, it's okay. You can go to our YouTube channel and you can see these recordings. We're going to make sure we're going to give you the best value here. And so we have already posted our first two episodes on YouTube at Optimize Her too. So when you're talking about well-being, I think that's something that needs a little bit further definition. And people talk about their health, and I think that we equate and Quincy, you and Trisha. Trisha is our digital operations specialist that's helping us through our podcasting with Wow. One of the things we talked about with weight, because everybody has a different weight number in their head. And Trisha and Quincy and I had talked about, so you can talk about the losing weight as part of the healthy mindset or body.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like most people that come to nutrition coaching for you come for weight loss. Like that, it's either blood sugar control, weight loss, heart health, but that is one of the main clients that I see. And of course, I'm going to help everybody hit their goal, but I also want them to rethink the weight thing, um, because it's not really the same as health. It's just one data point. It's one number. When you get a report card, you don't look at just one number. You have all these subjects and all these topics, and it's the whole picture that you really have to grasp. Um,
I think that's important, Joni, because I know for a long time, for me, health was whatever the scale said, right? And maybe how my clothes fit, and that could add to or take away from sort of my self image or the value that I placed upon myself. And once I learned to think more broadly about what health meant, it allowed for me to give myself, number one, a little bit more grace, but also focus on improving other indicators that could demonstrate success in whatever goal I may have been working on at that time.
yeah. So I like people to focus on like, how do you feel? Do you have more energy? Are you getting, better sleep? Do you have less joint pain? Are your labs improving? So my goal isn't just to help people shrink, it's to help them thrive in so many ways.
Yeah, I think that's important, and we mentioned the sleep component too. You had mentioned, Quincy, that you looked at the scale and that was your barometer. For other people, it's I'm not getting enough sleep and so forth. We all seem to have different interpretations of what is healthful or healthy.
Yeah. And I think also too, it could probably depend at the different life cycles you may be at, right? And what you're focused on at that time. As a younger gal, it was very much about, how do my clothes fit? What does the scale say? What does that mean to me and to other people? But as I started to mature, right, other things became more important when you started talking about your cholesterol and your blood work. And you're like, well, I never thought about some of these things, but now those are the first things I'm more curious about.
Yeah, and that just like brings a thought to my mind that no two people are actually the same. So, people could come to me with the same exact health issues and being the same weight, but the same treatment doesn't work for each of them. Like one may have huge success and the other doesn't. So it's always trying to tweak to the individual to find out, how you hit your goal. But yeah, that's true. People in different stages are very different.
So, of course, we want to cover as much material as we can because we have you, Joni, to talk to us about real stuff and so forth. But daily habits, you know, they're impacting business, how we're doing business productively, and back to that overall well being, not just as an individual, but as a company or as a business owner. What's the big one?
So I think as a business owner, if you're not treating your body well, or you're overstressed, or not having time to eat, or drowning yourself in food because you are stressed, that affects how you think. There's so much research showing your intake affects, are you having brain fog, or you're not following through? Like a lot of that could be what you're doing. So you're such a better business owner when you get your health in order.
I think that's
Sugar.
true, right? You hear that sort of health is wealth conversation sometimes, but I think also when you're putting better in, right? And I think there's a barometer there where you may be coming from and where you're going to. You can start to feel the improvement and the enhancements. I think also your body starts to crave those richer nutrients, right? That are helping you maybe with better decision making, problem solving, long term stamina and skills. So I hear you there.
Yep. And I feel like
Yeah.
health
Go ahead.
is
I'm
a
sorry.
skill set. You do need a skill set to be healthy, and that's what I do, teach people habits and skills so they have those tools in their back pocket.
Exactly. And without those skill sets, without you being able to approach the situation, because like you said, everybody's different. I may not need as much sleep, for instance, as the next person. I may not need as much water. And we're hearing a lot about even water today because of the plastic containers that we're getting our water from, and also that we don't have electrolytes. We're drinking, flooding our bodies with this water instead of focusing on that other important component.
I'm in camp water. We need electrolytes, but I feel like it's a little bit too much hype that they're coming at you saying, "Don't drink plain water." That's I'm not
Well,
in
that's
that
good to
camp.
hear from you. That's really good to hear because I hear these things and I'm confused. I don't know. I hear it coming from different directions. What is best for me?
Yeah, I think one thing I've been seeing a lot more of is the focus on protein everywhere. I feel like everything now has a component of protein added into it, and I'm just never quite sure how much added protein do I need in my diet, right? Outside if I get it, from meats or fish, whatever that may be. Do you have any thoughts on the protein surge that we're seeing right now?
Yes, and I understand the protein surge. So, general America, I'll say we eat too much, therefore everybody gets their protein needs. And then comes GLP-1 medications, which reduce food intake naturally, which is amazing and helpful for so many people. I actually teach a class for people taking GLP-1s or thinking about it or coming off it, but that is an area of focus. But when you're not eating a large quantity of food, protein becomes highly important. And I feel like the surge of GLP-1s has really put a lot of emphasis on protein because if you're on that medication, and that is medication for weight loss, you certainly need more protein so you don't lose a lot of muscle mass in the weight that you're losing. So that is part of the reason for that surge in protein now has a halo and it's in everything.
Yeah,
But
and
that
that
population
makes
is
a lot more
growing.
sense now. Now I get it because right there has been increased conversation about the GLP-1. So I can see the correlation now with the additional protein that people are focused on and all the many ways they may be trying to incorporate that into their diet while being minimally hungry for it sort of naturally.
Yep.
Thank
And
you.
I will just say, as we age, our protein needs go up and our calorie needs go down. So that doesn't mean you need significantly more protein, just a higher percentage of protein. So I will say, as you're aging, yeah, protein becomes a priority too, because you want to maintain your muscle mass. So definitely eating enough. Um, rule of thumb would be 15 to 30 grams per meal of protein
I
3
hope
times a
everybody's
day.
got their pencils out here as you're going through this because I'm hearing some of this stuff and I'm like, I can't remember all this. And that's why you need to contact a professional like Joni Rampolla so that she can teach you this and it becomes embedded in your brain. So, cutting out favorite foods and why balance beats restriction. That's something that you had mentioned. And can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I feel like that is my worst myth I hear all the time from people trying to lose weight. Like, oh, I'm not sure I want to see you because I don't want to give up my favorite food. And weight loss doesn't have to be about deprivation. That's kind of a myth that it does mean that. Because when we deprive ourselves, it usually backfires. I'd rather teach people how to enjoy a pizza night or their favorite piece of cake. At the end of the day and still feel good in their bodies. Balance beats restriction every time because it's more sustainable. So, if you're going to do pizza and chocolate cake every night, you're not going to have success. I'm not saying, you don't have to change the behavior, but you don't want to rule out everything that feels normal and natural and makes you happy either. We have to find a way to incorporate it so you still feel like you and you create balance in what you do. Because, like we said in the beginning, well being is part of how you feel about it. And if you're feeling deprived and feeling restricted, it's not going to last.
And
You're
these are
right
like real
there.
life habits, aren't they?
Right. I think for me, I went through a sort of my own lifestyle change in my approach to just diet and nutrition. And I knew I would not be successful if I could not have the things I enjoy. I love pastries and, all the things that make us, they just give you that yummy feeling, right? But I also knew that I could not enjoy them to the same rate that I had been enjoying them before to be able to accomplish the new goals that I had for life.
Absolutely.
So, subscribing to this podcast, this is going to give you so much value here at Optimize Her too. And when you do that, not only are you going to be able to review things, especially you can just fast forward and say, "What did Joni say?" Or what did Barbara or Quincy say? You can go back and rewind that kind of stuff because not all this stuff is going to sink in the first time you hear it. And if you don't have your little pencil and paper with you when some of our guests speak, it could be hard to do that. And who wants to do that anyway? You want to sit and enjoy this podcast, and we want you to do the same thing. So, any social media accounts that you're out there, communities, online communities where listeners can connect and engage, much like YouTube, that's where you want to be. These are the type of the things that you're going to learn real, authentic information, factual base to the best of our ability for them to present it to you. So, listeners can contribute too to these podcasts. Don't think it's just one sided here at OH2. We really want to know what you say and how you feel about some of the information that we're providing here at OH2 because we want it to be informative. We want it to be educational. And of course, maybe get a chuckle every once in a while from some of our stories. But this podcast at OH2 really welcomes our listeners. Share your thoughts on today's episode. Let us know. That's how we're going to learn. And if there's a topic, a subject matter you want us to cover, we've got a whole bunch of them in our back pocket here. But if there's something you want to hear about, maybe we could push that up a little bit in front and help you all with some issues you may be having as well. So this is really refreshing. And I want to know, Joni, so you work with so many different people with diabetes, they have heart conditions, in your past, you've, somebody with some sort of disease or something, kidneys issues and so forth. Do you have a favorite success story, maybe something or a victory that you want to talk about?
I have so many from so many people, from a woman that wanted to fit in her wedding dress from, 5 years later to surprise her husband, to a man who was able to see his belt buckle when he ties it, to a woman being able to sit down on the floor, play with her kids. But I will say my absolute favorite was one woman whose grown up son and the son's wife just had a newborn baby and they lived in a different state. And this woman's like, I feel too big to fit on an airplane. I'll, go over my seat into the next person and I'm not comfortable flying. She's like, help me lose weight. I got to meet this newborn. And so I worked with her like 8 or 9 months until she got to the place where she could finally get on a plane, and she sent me pictures of her and the new baby, and I know that was just, like, the most meaningful thing to her, and for me to be a part of it was just so cool and so much fun.
When you help others, you're helping yourself too, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's such a great story, Joni, because, number one, it's such a fear, right, that she had of being able to make sure she would be comfortable in the seat, but also not, make anyone else feel uncomfortable. But imagine if she never connected with you and never got the opportunity to go have that first meeting. So I'm sure it's something she'll always remember for her the rest of her life.
Yeah, yeah, really fun, and anybody I work with, I always tell them to find their why, like, find something that means something really important that when times get tough or you feel like giving up, you can think of your why, and this woman just had, to me, the best why.
We talk about call to actions in business all the time, and that's kind of like the why, isn't it? At the end of the day, what is the why? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to change your sleeping patterns? What is the why behind it? Because you feel horrible during the day and you're eating all this sugar. And we didn't talk about sugar, but I think that's something that we're going to have to reserve for another time, because I have a problem with sugar and inflammation in my gut system. And I've been learning how to deal with that. And one of the things that comes to mind from you, Joni, is you said that's not my food. And you, I'm sure, have some practical takeaways that you want to bring to light to our listeners here to be a little healthier and feel good now. So, what's one simple tip that we can try here today?
Yeah, so I just wanna explain the "that's not my food," which is just
Okay.
something mentally to say when you see something that you know doesn't agree with you, but you're still craving it and wanting it anyway. It's just like, "Yep, that's not my food, walk away." Part of an identity. But so I usually find something that people can add or do because it's easier to add something than take it away, right? So add color, adding color to a meal. What's a colorful fruit and vegetable you can add to whatever you're doing today? Or for somebody, it could be add a glass of water. Like find something that's easy that you can add. So maybe my dinner was, chicken, rice, and broccoli. Well, maybe you can cut up some red bell pepper and sprinkle it in the broccoli so there's just a little more color pop. It looks better on your plate. You're adding additional nutrition there and nourishing your body just a little bit more than you would have otherwise.
That's nurturing your mind, body, and business. You can do all of
Absolutely.
you can do all of
Small
those things.
shifts add up. Yeah.
They do, and I think that's such a great strategy of making an addition before the subtraction, so that way you're not immediately feeling as though you're losing or to your point earlier, being restricted.
Yep, absolutely. We create balance. We try and get tools and skills and habits that people can find easy to do. So I find what would be the most impactful thing to somebody's health that doesn't feel hard.
And that's what it is. If we feel it's kinda like going to the gym, right? We get that big weight, and we look at the people next to us, and they're lifting the weights, or they're doing all these repetitions, just like with the food, the weight that you spoke about, we spoke about a little bit earlier, they don't look so hard. Lighten it up a little bit. Do that one little thing, like you said, incorporating a glass of water. Some people don't even drink water at work. I used to sit my water glass at my office right in front of my computer as I'm on the screen all day, and I never touched it.
Oh, yeah, I was the same way. I would go through many, many cups of coffee before I had water, right? And there's never enough water to undo all of the coffee that I had already drank. And, if you get to all the sugar and everything that I added to it, it was really probably a cup of hot sugar water. So, you never know.
Well, this is way
Absolutely.
too
Yep.
cool. This is way too cool when you have a professional, someone that's really experienced and has the background, the knowledge, and so forth, Joni. And again, they can come and see you at nutrition coaching, the number 4u.com. And that's easy enough to connect with her. And of course, Quincy is at experience coaching.com. And I'm at wowwomenus.com, where you can learn more about what we do. We're just over elated with your presence with us. The fact that people are looking for us, that they're finding us, that just gives us such a uplifting, because this is the greatest present I think that I've had, is this podcast, in a long time. And I thank you all. And like we said earlier, don't keep us a secret. Like and follow, share OH2 on your social media platforms. Let other people, and now that we know it's not just about the ladies, the men want to know what we're talking about too. Share it in your networking group, share it in your social media. Please let other people know. October 7th at 7 p.m. It's the first and third Tuesdays of every month, Eastern Daylight Time. We're going to have special guest Trisha Soderstrom. Now, Trisha, I mentioned earlier, is the digital operations specialist for WOW, and she also is giving Quincy and I a lot of guidance here with this podcast. She's amazing. She's going to be talking about a subject matter that's near and dear to her, and it's the autoimmune system, and also how you can deal with a disease and business and raising your children and the complexities of all of that. How do you get through it? And Trisha's had some real life experiences that she's going to be able to share with all of you on that, and professional experience as well. A special thank you to her, Trisha, for helping us with this. I've so enjoyed this, Joni. I thank you, Quincy, for being such a dear, and our amazing relationship is like just blooming, and I think it's so wonderful. And
Really excited too. I want to share one thing
yeah,
before we go, because I think it's always when we have an opportunity to share some great news. I was actually featured in an article earlier. And so I would love to invite the audience to just take a look at the Scalable Coach magazine. I had an article all about how I went from silence to really just leaning into my spark. We'll make sure we'll drop the links and everything below. But a shout out to the whole team at the Scalable Coach. I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to more collaborations.
wow. That's
A
what
little
I can say
secret.
about that. You do have your spark, and people can learn more about that, can't they?
Yeah, experience-coaching.com, where you can also lean in and get your free conversation igniter to help you really lean into some of those tough conversations that have a companion. So it's complimentary. I just want for women or men to feel as though they have a guide and some support when they're leading into tough discussions.
Well, that is way too cool. And Joni, of course, anyone wants to set up an appointment with you after hearing all these wonderful, um, you know, skill sets that you have, and that are so helpful. They can do that through your website too, right?
Correct. Yep. Website is a great way to reach me, and also
Yeah.
has the classes that I teach there, or group coaching.
That's another nice thing, is having classes that you can be with some other people and share your experiences. Because sometimes when you're going through this wellness process, you feel so alone. And then you go to that refrigerator, you look in that pantry, and you're like, you want to do all those things. And it's not what you need to be doing. That's for sure. And to have others share with you, it's kind of like walking. Nobody wants to walk alone. Well, there's probably some people do, I don't wanna walk alone. It's a better experience when you do it with others. Someone like yourself who knows what they're
Absolutely.
doing makes
Having
it a
that community makes a major difference. And either whether it's just the accountability or the support, or having that sort of curated action plan that Joni can give you, can really be a partner in your success.
yeah, I'm glad we recognize that in each other, all of our specialties and so forth, and what we have to offer. Women optimizing women here at Optimizing Her too. So thank you all for joining us again for another successful episode of Optimize Her too, or OH2. Stay well. We have enjoyed the pleasure of your company. I hope you have felt the same about us. Stay well. And you can view this recording, and we'll also brush it up a little bit too once Trisha gets back in action. Good night,
Thank you,
ladies.
Trisha. Bye.
Stay
Bye.
well.
Good night.
Take care, everyone.
Take care.